Okay, so I did my due diligence last week, and I made a hell of a lot longer video on what I thought that I would. There was 7 people that tuned in the chat. That was pretty cool. Basically, once my phone hits like 42 minutes, it just freezes out for some reason. Yes, I know I don't have a webcam. I do it by phone. It just freezes out for some reason. So that's what happened last night on the stream. This video is actually supposed to be the 42-minute video where I just sit in here and talk, but I usually never get that many people in here. Hopefully we'll get 7 like we did last time. So we're going to go back through the comments where I missed out last night. And we're going to pick up from that. Yeah, we're going to pick up from that. We're gonna read every single comment here. Okay, Nicholas Alford said number 29, Joseph Adale. I think who you're looking for is Joseph Adai, and no, he was, which he did reiterate later on. He just spelled it wrong again. I'm not a grammar Nazi. I don't really care, man. Joseph Adai was the running back for a while, but he was not the running back in that game. It was James Brown or something like that. Some guy named Brown. Actually, I got it right here. I actually said it later on in the video. I get it. Some of you guys join in and you're late. And we've already talked about it. Or we haven't talked about it yet. Donald Brown. That was his name. Donald Brown was the running back when Kansas City played. This is hilarious. Not in a good way, though. Then why are you here? SKTUGLUB. I'm not even going to try to spell that or say that. If it's hilarious, not in a good way, then why are you even here? Go bug somebody else. I don't care about you or your comment. Nicholas Alford came back and said, we beat the Colts with Alex Smith and Nick Foles, 30-14 in Indy regular season. And we did beat the Colts with luck at their quarterback. That's true. I was under the impression there was a season where he played only 7 games. And I can't remember off the top of my head. Look, I was in a car wreck in 2015, so my memory just kind of comes and goes. But I've been watching football for a long time, so sometimes I can be accurate, sometimes I can be off. And guys like this, I'm one of those guys where if I'm wrong, educate me, not belittle me, and this guy did. So, yes, you are correct. I actually looked back on that, and yes, he was. We smoked his ass. 30-14 back in 2016. Yeah, it was 2016. We beat him 30-14. That is correct. I was under the impression that that was the season he was hurt, and he didn't play that year. That is correct. That is the game where Alex Smith got knocked out twice. Kelly Chisholm. I love it. Keep sleeping on the Colts. Look where it got everybody else, and Luck in the top 5 quarterback right now, so stop sleeping, Colt Nation. Well, if I understand it's a 42-minute video and you don't want to watch the whole thing, but if you did, nobody slept on the Colts. Everybody was talking about how a decent team they were, okay? I think it's you guys sleeping on us because you got all the past, you've got all the records, you've got all that petty crap from the past, so you think you got one over. That's the impression that I'm under. Nobody's sleeping on the Colts. You probably tuned in when I was in the conversation with the guy, and he said, oh, the Colts score fast. Yeah, so does Kansas City. Everything that the Colts do, we do it too. We may not play defense as good, but we do the same. We're a mirror image. So nobody's sleeping on the Colts. Nobody said this was going to be an easy game. I simply said, I think Mahomes is going to play better than Andrew Luck because he has all season. I'm not saying that it's a definite thing. I'm saying that's my prediction. That's what I think will happen because he has to because his defense isn't that great. Luck is in the top 5 quarterback. I wouldn't doubt it. Nobody said he wasn't. Nobody said Andrew Luck was a piece of shit or that he was whatever. Nobody said any of that. I bet you he is. I haven't looked because I don't care about Andrew Luck. I don't care where he's at on the quarterback ranking because they usually rank it by yards. And when they rank it by yards, that shit makes no sense to me because you can go up and down the field all you want, but if you're not scoring points, what does it matter? Andrew Luck does a lot of that. He does. He scores points, but there's a lot of times where he's unsuccessful and he gets a shitload of yards on one drive. Nobody's sleeping on the Colts. I don't know where you got that. You probably tuned into the wrong part of the video when I was talking about Andrew Luck not being in the MVP race. He's not. He's just not. He has literally one stat on Drew Brees and one stat. He threw more touchdowns than Drew Brees, and he has 1% higher on completion percentage than Pat Mahomes. That's all he has. He doesn't have more yardage than either one of them. He doesn't have more touchdowns. Well, I think he's got like 2 more touchdowns than Drew Brees, but he doesn't have touchdowns on Pat Mahomes. He doesn't have the QBR that either one of them do. He's not in the MVP race. He's not. You just got to accept that. I'm sorry if you can't. Actually, I'm not sorry if you can't. That's your own fault if you can't accept that. Nobody's sleeping on the Colts. Nobody said that. Nicholas Alford came back and said, I've been a KC fan since 2002. Go Chiefs. Hell yeah, brother. He also said, people are acting like the Colts are bringing in the 2000 Ravens defense or the 85 Bears D. Yes, that is true. I hear Colts fans all the freaking time talk about their defense. Dude, the Colts have played their the best offense they have played all year was ranked 15, and it was in their division. And that's Houston. That right there signifies what kind of offenses they played against this year. They haven't been great. They've been somewhere in the middle or very mediocre. And a lot of the mediocre offenses were the ones that beat them. And I'm not holding that against the Colts. I never did, and I'm still not going to. I'm not holding that against the Colts. I'm not using it against them. I'm simply putting out stats. Just like I did in the MVP race. They're stats. Okay? According to NFL.com, they have not played a top-tier offense this year. And they've been getting smoked in the first 5 games, minus the Jacksonville thing there at the end of the season. But the offense is below them in those early games, like Sam Darnold and the Jets. Yeah, they ended up outdoing Andrew Luck, which leads me to believe he hasn't been keeping up when it's a shootout. That's just simple shit. I mean, they're on NFL.com. You can go check them out. So, yeah, I agree with that. The Brown guy, 405. Dak is a lot like Andrew Luck. Yeah, he's really low profile and expects his defense to do it for him. Do some research before making these videos. Yeah, I said that. And maybe not last year, because last year, what was that? No, that was 2016. 2016, when Dak Prescott walked in, and him and Zeke just happened to go off in the same season, and he had all those other weapons and the defense before they all got traded, he was scoring points. But when all that shit left last year and this year, yeah, he's been that guy. He's been that guy. He's been that guy where he's like Andrew Luck, where he's been really low profile, and he's had to rely on defenses. Maybe you should go check it out, and you should look for yourself. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe not the first year with Dak Prescott, but when all that shit walked out the door, and he was left with just Zeke Elliott until they got Amari Cooper and Cole Beasley and who the hell else, and they had these rookies on defense. Yeah, that's what he was doing. He put a lot of pressure on that defense. Low scoring games, low profile. That's what he did. Andrew Luck's doing the same thing. The last 10 games. Dallas was the only, besides Houston and Tennessee, that were winning teams, that were like 2 games above average, whatever. I think the Titans ended up like 9-7 or something. I don't really count divisional games, and here's why. Divisional games can go either way, right? The Colts were playing good. Jacksonville comes in and skunks them 6-0. What, you going to hold that against the Colts? They're divisional games. They can go either way. And the AFC South is the most dysfunctional division of them all. Like, a team that's scraping the bottom of the shit barrel like Jacksonville can come in and or mop the floor with the Colts like that. Just a random shit like that. That's what I mean by that division. Okay, so that's what I'm referring to there. Besides the division, okay, the biggest win that the Colts had was against the Cowboys because that was the best team they played, right? Andrew Luck did nothing in that game to win that game. His defense did that for him. You probably missed that segment of my video too because I mentioned this yesterday. I know I did. Okay? Andrew Luck didn't do shit in that game against the Cowboys. He did nothing. He was 190-something yards. I think it was 2 to be exact. No touchdowns, a pick. Either that or it was no touchdowns and no picks. And they won the game 23-0. His defense won that game. His defense and Marlon Mack won that game. Marlon Mack ran like a madman, and the defense kept denying him on the goal line. I can't remember exactly how many times they got denied on the goal line, but I know it was at least 3. And they took chances on 4th down on the other side of the field, too, which would have went for field goals. Altogether, I racked it up. It was 24 points, at least. And the Colts scored 23. So it would have been a 24-23 win. The defense deserves that credit. The defense won the game against the Cowboys. It was not Andrew Luck. If Andrew Luck won that game, it would have been 3 touchdowns, maybe a pick, and, like, he puts up a crap ton of yards. So I'm going to say, like, I don't know, 300-400 yards. Or 350-400 yards, something like that. So, yeah, I said that. I said what that guy said I said. That's true. And then I also started to refer him, like, to an Aaron Rodgers, and then I thought about it, and I was like, nah, not Aaron. We can't go that far. Let's try somebody like Joe Flacco. But Joe Flacco's won Super Bowls, okay? He's won playoff games. But he's another quarterback I feel like he's kind of dying off, but he used to do a lot of things with almost nothing. But he got more weapons as he went along. So that's kind of a hard comparison. I'll give you that. It's a rough comparison. But, yeah, dude, before you go, like, saying I need to make research on these videos, I did look. That's how I know. So, yeah, I did say that. And if you want to see for yourself, maybe you should go up there to NFL.com and check it out for yourself. Because the last season and this season, Dak Prescott has been a very low-scoring guy. And his defense has done a lot of the work. You don't believe me? Well, take the Colts game, for example. He didn't score a damn point all game, and he still held the Colts to 23 points. And your god, Andrew Luck, to basically nothing. So, there you go. There you have it. There's your proof. If the Colts would have had Aaron Rodgers, he probably would have dropped a 40-burger on the Cowboys for playing like shit like that. Their offense playing like shit. So, that's that. And then the final comment, Tex-Mex. I wish I was in the chat at the time of the broadcast. Yeah, just subscribe, man, if you want to. Many Colt fans seem to be pretty delusional. Yeah, they're kind of caught up in themselves. Every fan base has their delusional fans, but I think they just got caught up in the moment. I'll give him this. Luck is a very good quarterback, but to say Luck is better than Mahomes is very debatable. I agree. I debated on that too, and the guy argued with me. Well, he didn't argue with me. He just debated on me with it, which is good. I like that. If you want to be fair to compare both full seasons where Luck threw for 4,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, I'll give him props for leading the Colts to in his first full season to an 11-5 record and a wild card appearance. Side note, Luck has only thrown for 40 touchdowns once in his 6-year career. That is true. I did look up Luck's stats one time on the MVP debate thing. Patrick Mahomes, in his first full season, threw for just over 5,000 yards with 50 touchdowns and is already getting MVP honors. and is leading his team to a 12-4 record and the 1 seed in the playoffs. Going by first full year measurables so far, it's clearly showing Mahomes has the better of the two. I think some of these Colt fans don't understand how good Mahomes is, and this historic offense he leads historically is one of the best of all time in the NFL, led by a first-year quarterback in Mahomes. I've been trying to caution Colt fans not to be so overconfident. I agree. Like, you got to come down and you got to be rational about shit. Again, if you jump into a segment of my video that you think is weird, go back and watch the whole thing. It's all there. I look at both sides of it, not just one. Same thing with Chiefs fans who are very worried about this game. There are many things falling the Chiefs' way. Correct. Getting a bye with a week to rest, that did help us because we got everybody back. We are 100% full staff now. That is very true. Home field advantage with a super loud Arrowhead Stadium, that's true. Our defense plays much better at home. That is also true. Facing an opponent whose defense runs a zone, our offense has feasted on those types of defenses. That is true. The Seahawks ran a lot of zone, and granted, we lost that game. Patrick Mahomes still never threw a pick. Or I'm pretty sure he didn't. Anyways, I read a stat where he's like 15 touchdowns and no interceptions against zone defenses. Like, he tears zone defenses apart. Eric Berry is coming back. That helps. Sammy Watkins is coming back. That will also help. We haven't seen him in a while. Andy Reid has an excellent winning record coming off a bye week. That is true. Most of all, we have the first time in decades an MVP-type generational quarterback, talent at quarterback, leading our prolific offense to the playoffs. Granted, given any Sunday, anything can happen, but in this case, I do like the Chiefs' chances. So I agree with you on everything you just said, and that's exactly what I was trying to iterate. This guy said it all for me. This guy said it all for me. I mean, that's basically like the Chiefs have everything in their favor on the field this Saturday, and the Colts have everything in the past to go off of, and they have, they obviously got momentum coming into this game. They've been playing hard. They've treated every game like it's a playoff game where they had to win, and they have. So I agree on all that. I do. I agree on all that. Outside of their division, since they didn't win their division, we could see how that pans out. I mean, we're kind of the opposite. We struggled a little bit against non-divisional teams, but we were good in the division. I mean, we only lost one divisional game all season. Outside of the division, lost to the Bengals, lost to the Redskins. They lost to Philadelphia. They beat the Redskins. Never mind. So let me start over. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Redskins. That's a mistake I probably made last night. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Texans. They lost to the Patriots. That's a big game because the Patriots are a lot like us offensive-wise. They can keep up when playing at home. They lost to the Jets 42-34. They crushed the Bills. I mean, that's no surprise. They beat the shit out of the Raiders. That's not really a surprise. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Miami, they beat them by 3 points. Miami was 4-6 or 5-5 going into that game on a huge losing streak. Jacksonville, Houston, they beat the Cowboys 23-0. The Cowboys were 7-7 no, they would have been 8-5 going into that game, so that's a good win for them. They beat the Giants by 1. The Giants are 5-10. That's all outside of their division. So, please tell me exactly where I'm sleeping on the Colts, because this is my exact point. They beat the Giants by 1. Okay, they beat the Cowboys by 23. I'll give them props on that. As I said, their defense won that game. If you don't believe me, go look at Andrew Luck's stats. He literally did nothing to win that game. That was every bit of his defense and Marlon Mack. I'm not going to include divisional games, but there's a win by 3 points. There's a loss by 6 points. Win by 3 points. I mean, they beat the Tennessee Titans pretty handily their first time. I doubt Marcus Mariota was playing. He didn't play the second time either, and they hung in there for a while. Jacksonville, they beat them by 3 points. Oakland, they beat them by, what is that, 21? No, 14. They beat the Raiders by 14. They annihilated the Bills. Not much to say there. They beat them by 32 points. The Jets, they lost to them by, was that 8 points? They lost to the Patriots by 17. They lost to the Texans by 3. They lost to the Eagles by 4. They beat the Redskins by 12. They lost to the Bengals 34-23. I mean, you see what I mean? He's got to keep it low profile. His defense has to keep him in the game. If his defense doesn't keep him in the game, he has problems. And whether it's frickin' Sam Darnold and the Jets, or it's Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, he has problems with high-scoring games. And a lot of that's not all his fault. He went off in the Jets game, but you know what? He also threw 3 picks. Or maybe that's the Patriots game I'm thinking of. Maybe that's the Patriots game I'm thinking of. Hold on, let me check. Okay, so the Patriots, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 365 yards. Texans, he fared pretty... Actually, no, we're not going to do divisional teams. Because divisional teams are out of the question at this point. It really doesn't matter at this point. Redskins, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They won 21-9. They should have lost that game. But his defense kept him in it. The Bengals, 2 touchdowns, an interception. They lost that game. The Eagles, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. They lost that game. The Patriots, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I already said that. They lost that game. By the way, the Redskins, he only passed for 179 yards. The Eagles, he only passed for 164 yards. These low-end stats are that is the exact reason why he is not in the MVP race. He was not that great in the 1-5 start, but they pushed that out of the way. And they say, oh, look at him in the last, 10 out of 11, or whatever it was. That doesn't matter. It matters what you did the whole season as a whole. And he had a lot more faults in games than Patrick Mahomes had. He has a lot of games where he's 1 interception away from equaling his touchdowns. Or sometimes he even has more interceptions than he does touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes had 1 game against Jacksonville. 1 game, and they won 30-14. 1 game against Jacksonville where he threw 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. That was the only game where he finished with more interceptions than he did touchdowns. That was his only bad game, and the defense pulled him. And the running game pulled him. Oh, by the way, if you take the entire season and you divide it up, you know what he's averaging in a game in general? A passing percentage of 59.4, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, and a QBR of 88.3. That's his average of a game. If you take the whole season and you divide it by 16, that's his average. So you explain to me how that's an MVP. You explain to me how that's an MVP on an average game. Now, to be fair, I'll use this to back up my point. Okay. Of course it's not. Why is it not doing it for him, but it's doing it for Luck? Maybe it's because Mahomes is in his first season. Okay, we can do it this way. Okay, so his average QBR is 111.7 for the season. So in a game, that's usually that's saying what he's predicted. Okay, so that's that. INTs, he had 13. So he's averaging less than one interception a game. 0.8125 to be exact. So he's averaging less than an interception a game. Andrew Luck's averaging one interception a game. Okay, so we'll do this. And he's averaging 3.125 touchdowns a game. Better than Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's 2. So, and he's averaging 336 yards a game. So he clearly beats out Andrew Luck in an average game. Statistically, I'm not saying he'll beat him Saturday, so don't go off saying that. I never said that. I'm saying, statistically, this is why he's in the MVP race, and this is why Luck is not. Luck is a subpar average quarterback if you take all of his stats and divide them by 16. Patrick Mahomes is averaging less than an interception, maybe one, if you round it up. Patrick Mahomes is averaging 3 touchdowns, 4 if you round it up. Patrick Mahomes is averaging 336 yards in a game. He's only averaging 222. His QBR is far clearing Andrew Luck. And for the record, so is his passing percentage, 65.9. Andrew Luck was like 59.4. He clears him in every aspect. There's no reason for him to be in the MVP race. None. Why? Because Colin Cowherd, you're not cycling in the last 10 games where he actually played decent. You're cycling in the rest of the shit where he didn't play very good. Anyways, back to my point. Jets, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That's probably the reason they lost that one. He did good in the next couple games against the Bills and the Raiders. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jacksonville played pretty decent. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Which, by the way, against the Bills, he only threw for 156 yards. So you know what that tells me? His defense kept consistently giving him a short field. Or Marlon Mack was running it all over the place, and then he just happened to throw the drive-ending touchdown. That's what that tells me. Moving on, Dolphins, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. His defense is keeping him in the game. That's why they're barely winning, because he's creating all these turnovers. Jaguars, the game where it was 6-0, 0 touchdowns and interception. Houston, they won that game by 3, 2 touchdowns and interception. Giants, they won that game by 1, 2 touchdowns and interception. Titans, they ended up blowing them out because their defense scored once at the end of the game on a pick 6, which was totally unnecessary. By Malcolm Butler. Yes, I watched the game. And then they scored. Andrew Luck and gang scored again on offense because they went for it on a 4th down because they had to on their own goal line and basically turned it over. I want to say it was like inside the 20, maybe not that far, but they didn't have far to go. So that's that. And then last Sunday, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this one because this one was a tip ball. Unlike that Tennessee interception where it was just god-awful shit. I mean, he just threw it right to the guy. if I remember the same game. But against the Texans, it was a tip ball, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Either way, he's still 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 222 yards. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, wait, hold on. What? Woo! Let's back up. Okay, so for some reason down here in the season, they're putting his last game stats down here. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna be fair about this, and we're gonna back this up. And we're going to divide his stats like we did Mahomes for this season. And we're going to see what they come out to be. Because if I remember right, regular season stats, here we go. Okay. All right, so average of a game. Okay. Average game. We're going to average this thing out. Right. Okay, so he had 4,593 yards. So he's averaging 287 a game. Still not as good as Mahomes. Completion percentage was 67.3. Okay, so that's where he beats Mahomes. Mahomes is 65.9. So I'm correcting myself here. So he beats him in completion percentage, right? Touchdowns 39. So he's averaging 2.4. You could round up to 3, and you could round Mahomes' 3 up to 4. So he's averaging 1 less touchdown than Mahomes. Interceptions, he had 15 this year. How many did Mahomes have? 13? Wait, hold on. Mahomes finished with less interceptions and more touchdowns than Andrew Luck. Why are you questioning this kid's MVP again? Why are you saying Andrew Luck needs to be in there? Done beat him on yardage, done beat him on interceptions, done beat him on touchdowns. Oh, but he's got that 2% on completion percentage, though. He's got him there. Right, whatever. You're just looking for an excuse not to give it to Mahomes or Breeze, whoever gets it. Personally, I think he's played better than Breeze this year, but Breeze has had a great season. I won't take that away from him. QBR, he's averaging 71.5, right? Pat's averaging 107.7. Wow, he makes Andrew Luck's QBR look like shit. Look like total dog shit. He's about 30 or so up on Andrew Luck. You realize QBR is like your overall performance, right, of the whole game. That's massive. That's probably why he's not in the MVP race, to be technical about it. Okay, so .9375 is what he's averaging for an interception. So he's averaging about an interception a game. I mean, I don't know what more you want out of that conversation. He didn't have the year that Mahomes had. Period. Let it go. Move on. Just count the loss, okay? Look, we've had to deal with subpar quarterbacks, mediocre quarterbacks. We've had to deal with all that shit. Last year around this time, I know for a damn fact you didn't hear me saying, well, Alex Smith deserves the MVP of the league. He outdueled Tom Brady in the first game. That was never said by me, and it was probably never said by all the rational Kansas City fans either. Maybe some of the more delusional ones. But only the delusional people, like Colin Cowherd, yes, I said delusional, will sit there and put Andrew Luck in an MVP race ahead of Mahomes. He is the only delusional Colt fans will do that. Because guess what? It's not there. The stats aren't there. It is proven statistically on computer, on paper, in a stat book. It is proven. He does not deserve to be ahead of him. Period. He doesn't deserve to be ahead of Mahomes. It is proven. I don't know where you guys get. I don't know where you guys get that. Maybe the completion percentage, maybe. But the point is, he smokes his ass in QBR. Smokes it right off. I mean, Luck doesn't stand a chance against him in QBR. Again, let me reiterate, just in case you jump in at the end of the video. I am not saying Andrew Luck is not going to outperform Patrick Mahomes this Saturday. I'm predicting that Pat Mahomes will, because it's proven in a stat book, going based off of stats, and what I've seen, Patrick Mahomes has better ball games than Andrew Luck. Period. That's what I'm going off of. I'm not saying Andrew Luck's not going to come out and outperform him. It's possible. That's what I'm saying. Drew Brees is the other MVP candidate. Drew Brees' season. Completion percentage, 74.4, beats out Mahomes. 3,992 yards, not even close to Mahomes. 32 touchdowns, not even close to Mahomes. 5 interceptions, finished well above Mahomes. QBR, 105.7, finishes below Pat Mahomes. He's just like Andrew Luck. He has one stat on Patrick Mahomes. Andrew Luck, he's got what? He's got the yardage, and he's got a few more touchdowns. So I could see how you could compare him to Drew Brees, but comparing him to Mahomes, good Lord. And you know what? People are going to look at that QBR, and they're going to go, oh, there's no way in hell. Because Andrew Luck's QBR is so damn low at 71 point something. That is low for a QBR. Low. And why is that? Because he shot himself in the damn foot so often this year. Oh, I'm winning games by 1 to 3 points. I'm throwing like 3 picks and 4 touchdowns. Oh, I threw 2 picks and no touchdowns this game. That's what does your QBR in. That's what screws your QBR up. Like, watch this shit. I'm trying to think of a quarterback here. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, right? I get it. He's a really good quarterback. I get it. Really good quarterback. Okay? Really good quarterback. Didn't have shit to work with this year. Head coach got fired halfway through. A lot of controversy, right? 62.3 completion percentage. Andrew Luck tops him on that. 4,442 yards. Beats out Andrew Luck by a hair. Doesn't have near the touchdowns that Andrew Luck had. Had considerable amount of less picks. He only threw 2 picks. And his QBR was 97.6. By the way, Aaron Rodgers had no defense this year. Just throwing that out there. Clinton Dix got traded to Washington. 97.6 was his QBR. You know why? Because he didn't shoot himself in the damn foot. 1 touchdown, no picks. 2 touchdowns, no picks. 2 touchdowns, no picks. 2 touchdowns, no picks. 1 touchdown, no picks. 1 touchdown, no picks. 2 touchdowns, no picks. See what I mean? If you're throwing a pick every time you throw a touchdown, your QBR is going to... It's going to be shit. Looking at this, if I had no defense whatsoever, none, I'd take Aaron Rodgers. You know why? Because he doesn't turn the ball over. That's why. You give me Andrew Luck with no defense, he's going to turn the ball over. He turns the ball over with a good one. He's got a decent defense, and he turns the ball over with them all the time. Our guys, the only thing we really got, Kansas City, on defense, sometimes we have corners that jump routes. Other than that, we have a pass rush. That's a definite thing we have. if the Colts don't keep that pass rush at bay, there's going to be either tip balls or there's going to be strip sacks. I can guarantee you that. They better keep that D-line at bay. That's their one job Saturday. Keep the D-line at bay. If they don't, I'm a firm believer Andrew Luck is going to hand out picks like it is candy. I'm not saying we're going to blow them out. I'm saying the defense is going to keep them in the game somewhat, them and Marlon Mack. And Andrew Luck's just going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or he has a knack for fumbling snaps, too. 2 years ago when we played him, yeah, that was his main problem, was fumbling snaps against Kansas City. That was his biggest issue. And he threw a pick to Phillip Gaines. Remember that shitbag we got from Miami that we had nobody else, so he had to play? Yeah, he picked him off. I'm not saying Andrew Luck is terrible. He is definitely the comeback player of the year. If it was between Luck and Breeze, that's an honorable MVP watch there. That's honorable. Even though Andrew Luck's QBR is shit, which it would get him beat. But comparing him to Mahomes, you're nuts. You are nuts. There's no way. There's no way. Andrew Luck stacks up good to Alex Smith last year. That's what he stacks up to. And I believe Alex Smith threw like 28 touchdowns or something last year. I can't even remember because I don't care anymore. Just saying. Stop it. Colin Cowherd, stop it with that bullshit. It's not even in the conversation, man. So that's Tom.